Have Dr. Will Tuttle and Madeline Tuttle on their maiden journey to Mumbai. So my first question is, what is your take of ahimsa in today's world?
Today, I think ahimsa means moving to a totally plant-based way of living, primarily for us as individuals, because we're all living in a society where we're killing and enslaving and mutilating millions of animals every day, primarily by taking out our wallets and paying for meat and dairy products and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we want to practice ahimsa, or nonviolence, that it means being kind and loving to other human beings,
Mm-hmm.
but other human beings can retaliate, or they can resist us. But animals like cows and pigs, chickens, they cannot resist. So ahimsa today means, I think, compassion and kindness for animals, and also eating a more and living in a more environmentally friendly way to reduce the amount of pollution and destruction of rainforests and oceans. Again, that means moving, I think, to a plant-based way of eating and of living.
Okay. Can you highlight what your tour here in Mumbai, and then you're going to China after this? Can you highlight the focus of the tour?
Yes, the highlight of the tour for us in India, actually the whole tour, Madeline and I are referring to this as the 2017 Vegan World Circumnavigation Tour. So the idea is we're going around the world to help to bring the vegan message, which is essentially the message of ahimsa. We've just been in Europe for about 3 weeks, and now we're here, and then we'll be in China. And I think in India, since India is already quite a vegetarian-friendly country, we want to really thank the Indian people for guiding and showing the way of the light of vegetarianism in the world, and also to encourage people not to just stop at vegetarianism, which includes dairy products, and I think also eggs for many people, and to go completely free of animals, to not eat any animal foods at all, not only meat, but also dairy products and eggs, and also I think less leather would be a good idea, to try to liberate animals from the terrible suffering that they endure, and it's also much healthier actually for us as well.
Can you just sum up how your book, The World Peace Diet, it's an Amazon bestseller, how does it go? Yes.
There it is.
Yes. How does it
The art.
How does it go beyond being just a basic health or a diet book? How does it go beyond it? And
Yeah.
also, if your role, I believe that you played a very strong role in developing it and shaping it. So,
Yeah, I think the main idea in the World Peace Diet that makes it different from any other book actually on veganism or plant-based living is that it gives the big picture of the consequences of our routine mistreatment of animals for food and for other products. And there's books that talk about the fact that it's not a good idea to harm animals because it's not good for our health, it's not good for the earth, it's not good for the poor animals. But the World Peace Diet also includes a lot about our spiritual health, our spirituality, which I think will be very interesting to people living in India. Also our psychological health, our cultural health, which I think will also be very interesting. Because I think when we look more deeply into what vegetarianism actually is, we see that there is this component of ahimsa that leads to understanding this at a much deeper level, and how animal agriculture leads to war and slavery and injustice.
okay. How many years did it take for you to shape this book? What inspired you to write this book?
Well, you know, the thing is, Madeline and I were traveling for many years. I've been a vegan, and Madeline also, for many years.
Yes.
And as we were speaking, I kept feeling that there was no one who was actually giving this bigger picture. I remember saying to Madeline, gosh, you know, it'll be great to read a book. Someone's going to write a book that will talk about this. And she said, yeah, it'll be great to read that book when it comes out. And a few years kept going by, and no one ever wrote the book. So finally Madeline said, yeah, I think, Will, if you want to read that book, you'll probably have to write it yourself.
Yes.
And so then at that point, I started just doing some writing. She encouraged the idea just to do some writing. And I did a lot of work in preparation. But then I got a contract from Lantern Books in New York City to write the book. And then after that, it took another 5 years of work writing full time. So it's really a lot of effort. It was edited and researched for many, many years. And it became a #1 Amazon bestseller in 2010, and it's now been translated into 16 languages. It's published around the world in many languages. It's also a bestseller, besides English. So I think it's because it strikes a chord. When people read The World Peace Diet, they feel a much deeper connection with the inner wisdom that we all have, that very often gets repressed by our culture because we're taught that we should just eat cheese and milk and meat and other, foods that cause suffering to animals.
Okay. What is the one step or habit that you would suggest every Indian take?
I think the one step would be really just to try to make an effort to understand more deeply where meat and dairy products come from, what the animals go through, what it does to the land and water, how it affects our health. Diabetes is going up very quickly, obesity, many diseases that are linked to animal foods, both meat and dairy are increasing, the suffering of dairy cows. So I think if people in India would really make an effort to understand not only the benefits of refraining from meat, but also dairy products, that India could really, again, lead the world forward to a more compassionate, sustainable, just world for everyone.
Okay.
And Madeline, do you want to add anything to that? I think the whole idea of the practicality of this.
Yeah, I'm very much into the practicality of living a vegan life. Do some cooking videos and educate about a clean house, a clean earth, which means beauty products should be vegan and fair trade is important, non-GMO, and also like cleaning products are usually very toxic. So to use more biodegradable, because if we're not going organic, non-GMO, and still using all these chemicals, we kill a lot of animals actually. The fish and the bees get disoriented by our use of chemicals, and some insects, butterflies disappear.
And also, Madeline is from a country, Switzerland, which in some ways is similar to India in the sense that the dairy is very important to the people there. And so it's interesting to see how both countries, this whole idea of being free of all animal foods is increasing, and it's kind of new, but it's very exciting.
Okay. What are the gaps or what are the challenges that you are facing when you are trying to transform a culture from where we are to probably a more connected order, a more connected, united civilization? Are you facing any challenges?
There's many challenges. The biggest challenge, I think in India it seems like there's two main challenges. One is the fact that people are, for thousands of years, honoring the dairy eating tradition as something that's very mutually beneficial, sort of this feeling of this is how it's supposed to be, and also the fact that people here, I think in India, have just a lot of challenges getting through the day, and it's hard to think about giving up dairy products, even if they're already vegetarian. And then the other big aspect is the challenge of finding plant-based products that are convenient and not expensive, like non-dairy milk, non-dairy yogurt, non-dairy buttermilk, non-dairy maybe ice cream or cheese, these kinds of things. In the United States and in Europe, it's getting very easy. They're in all the stores. It's easy to find soy milk or rice milk. but I think it'll maybe take a few years to find these alternatives. Also, of course, alternatives to meat products. But I think the good news is that the Indian people are used to eating very healthy plant-based foods, and if to just reduce the dairy would really make a lot more health, and would really increase, I think, the beauty of the Indian countryside, and make everyone feel much better.
Okay. I believe you've been vegan. I've read you've been a vegan since 1980.
Yes.
So since then, I think your vision is to rekindle compassion in people's lives.
Right.
So from 80 to 2017, how has your journey been?
Well, it's really wonderful, really, to see that in 37 years how many changes have been made. When we first started, there was no one even heard of this word. It was very new, and now it's something that's become almost universal. Everywhere we go in the world, we find, even if we go to Africa or the Middle East or South America, people understand what veganism is, and more I think people have a good feeling about it, about the word, and about the idea of a plant-based way of living, because it's not blaming anyone, it's not criticizing, it's just simply coming home, I think in many ways, coming home to our own wisdom and saying, I want to live a life of kindness to others, a life of health, a life that will make a better world for my children. I think these are universal values, and also the idea of karma, the idea that whatever we sow, we will reap. So if we take cows or pigs or any other animal and we imprison them, we steal their babies, we steal their milk, we abuse them, we're not creating a foundation for happiness for them or for us, because we are connected. So I think these ancient spiritual teachings that are very deeply rooted in India and have gone all over the world, it's time for us to take them seriously and not just ignore them when it comes to animals, just because of tradition.
Okay. And what is your message to Mumbai? We are having the second edition of the Ahimsa Festival, which I think you're going to be a part of it 2 or 3 hours from now.
Right.
So what is your message to Mumbai or India?
Our message really is twofold. It's number one, thank you very much for bringing to the world the word ahimsa, and the word and the concept of nonviolence, compassion, the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi and many other great sages and saints and mystics for hundreds and thousands of years have come from India to help raise the awareness of everyone on planet Earth, and then also to urge everyone and to encourage everyone in India to move forward and move toward a completely plant-based diet, to not just stop with not eating animal flesh, not eating also any products from animals, or using imprisoning animals for entertainment, or or products or leather. All these things are very harmful and painful to millions and millions of animals. And, to work together to help raise awareness.
Okay. Then my question is for Madeline. When it comes to practicalities, you've been vegan for probably more than 2 decades.
Yes, oh yeah.
So what has people's responses been for this whole journey?
I feel like in the beginning, when I became a vegan, it was very hard. And then suddenly I realized that vegan was a word which was more known. And now I realize that it's nearly a wave of veganism starting to urge over the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the changes you experienced in your life? Health-wise, we all know.
Oh, you mean like this? Yeah. I'm a painter.
Yes.
And I painted my whole life long, but when I became a vegan, I started painting animals. And first I started with wild animals, and then as I went on, I I included the farm animals too. And so, yeah, it's like being more joyful and free. It's a very freeing life. It's beautiful. It's a great step to take.
You're also a musician. Both of y'all are musicians. You play the piano and you play the flute.
Yes.
So what inspires both of you to create music?
Well, I think it's like with Madeline saying with her art, we create our music and art in order to help make a better world, you know, to help spread joy, peace, harmony, a sense of the beauty of life, a sense of the possibilities. People when they listen to my piano music, they very often say it's healing, or it makes them feel joyful, it makes them feel peaceful, and that kind of thing. And I think when people see Madeline's paintings, very often they say that it just makes them smile, you know, that it makes them, they see the beauty of the animals. She has one painting of a cow named Emily who escaped from a slaughter and ended up living at a sanctuary where many people would visit, and they would get to know Emily, and many people went vegan. And even, this was in Massachusetts, and even a Hindu priest from India came, and the cow had a hole in her ear where there was a number, and he put a Hindu blessing cord in her ear, and it always was there. And many people saw that and were very touched and realized that animals are like us in many ways. They have a consciousness, they yearn to live their lives, and that by moving to a totally plant-based way of living, we're fulfilling our own potential.
Okay. Yeah, I guess thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.